Yeah. Wednesday, 6.3. I called it just Hump Day. I couldn't even think of a title for things. Hump Day. I used to get a lot of Hump Day a year ago on Facebook. I got a lot of Hump Day posts. But now that I think about it, I haven't been getting any. I've had three or four people on Facebook that used to do that every Wednesday, and they would post their Hump Day post.
Camels aren't a fan.
Yeah, I see a lot of camel. but yeah, it was yeah, just noticing that now. I'm just thinking about that. Calling this episode Hump Day and not seeing the hump from Hump Day.
Okay, so that's the show.
And thank you. Yeah, thank you. Come back tomorrow. I was ended up staying up all night last night. And I probably went to bed about, I don't know, 10 o'clock this morning, which I needed to be out the door by noon. But I did make it.
Get out.
Although I slept till about 2:30, so that was good. So I kept so I didn't sleep 12 hours or anything like that. Although I did take another little nap. I just woke up a few minutes ago. I woke up in the last half hour. I feel a little groggy, but just to sleep gets off. But so I woke up this morning. Well, not I woke up this morning. The first thing this morning, I hear from you, and of course you got interesting stuff going on with your in your world. So why don't you give us a yeah.
Well, it's still continuing. Where is it? There you go. Alrighty then. Woke up this morning. Did you ever hear the Soprano song? Woke up this morning. Yeah. All right. Well, this wasn't near as good as the song of the Sopranos because I woke up and I found that my laptop, of which is pretty much my lifeline, was shut down. And that's not unusual. Sometimes you have, their Windows updates and whatever. And as you know, we were watching The Wire, no plug intended, but we were watching the show. And all of a sudden the internet went down and everything. It was like, all right. So it was about 2 o'clock around there. So then, so I went to bed and I slept nicely. And at least I thought I did. But then this evil thing took over my computer and shut it down to the point as to where it misconfigured. Or somebody sent me a virus. I'm not altogether sure which. So I woke up and I was trying to get back online. As you know, I do prayers and motivational videos and stuff in order to get my day going and everything. I was struggling getting that accomplished because my computer was struggling. It was dead. And it was trauma. it was traumatizing. I couldn't get anything working. And if I put it into safe mode, it worked for about 5 minutes and then it stopped. So I actually started timing. It's like, okay, I can get this much done if I go ahead and do this. So naturally, I went to my confidant Wayne here and said, Wayne, wake up! It's like he was awake, but my computer wasn't. Long story short. Or longer. The computer died. it was dead. We had to do emergency surgery. We had to bring it to the factory specs. And I'm laughing about it, but it hurts because there was a whole lot of stuff that was on it that I lost. a lot of writings, a lot of videos, pictures. It was just. I still have not looked at my library yet. I don't want to. It's just because I have a feeling I'm probably going to have a tear in my eye. So anyways, so we had to bring the computer to factory spec, and so throughout the day I have been trying to, get all my presets all the same and everything. And we were just talking about I don't feel well. I haven't felt well for a good while now. And I'm trying to do my best in order to just move forward with it. It's not easy when you start having these things happen. You start losing confidence. But you know what? It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It does hurt, but we'll be back, and I just need to get feeling better. And as soon as I do that, then I'll really show my emotions towards what I lost there.
The one thing I enjoy is not the right word here, obviously. But the one thing I thought was interesting out of it was, got on my computer because I thought, well, let's look and see how to go about running, doing a system restore or a full factory reset on laptop, just to make sure you do it right. We don't want to do anything weird. And I don't remember ever doing it. So I want to make sure, and the internet was out, actually for it didn't come back up to about 6 o'clock. It was out.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, about 6 o'clock it came back up. Yeah, I only know because I was up. I was watching. I got a lot of movies and stuff on my computer. I was watching the Planet Earth documentary series that BBC did back in 2006. One of those David Attenborough nature shows, which I believe when they showed it in the U.S., they didn't use David Attenborough, his voiceover. They got a bunch of celebrities from the U.S., so like Oprah Winfrey and Sigourney Weaver and other people to do it, do the voiceovers for a presentation in the United States.
Simon Cowell wasn't available?
I can't remember. Nobody with an English accent was allowed. It was all people had to be big American stars or whatever. But so I had the BBC version. So anyway, so I was watching those. But then it comes back up. So we okay. Let's get on the internet. Let's see about doing the factory restore. What do we have to do? I'm reading some different things, and we get ready to start doing it, and then I just typed in one more time, but this time I included the name of your computer. You have a Lenovo computer, so do factory restore on the factory reset on a Lenovo computer. Because I was noticing the first couple of things that came up was like, how to do it on a Dell, how to do it on, and they were all generally kind of the same. But I thought, well, let me just double check that maybe it's different on the Lenovo. You never know, you figure you're running Windows on everything. It's got to be pretty much the same, but there might be some little thing in there. So anyway, I do it on the Lenovo search for how to do a factory reset. And I'm reading this. It goes, well, there's a little button next to the power button. It's the one key factory reset button. What? And as I asked Shane, Shane, you got a little button next to your power button, a little like an orange lighter on it, a little light bulb thing or something.
Not that big.
And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's there.
That's the button. You push that and you just reset your computer.
You're kidding.
And I go, oh, let me, yeah. And as far as I could tell on the internet, I mean, looking around, I could find another model of computer manufacturer that has that button. But in the end, that made it a little bit easier because you're sure you're not going to type in. Because I was like, I'm always afraid you do that, start doing this, and then wipe something out where Windows won't even start.
Well, that's what was happening.
And you completely, and now you have a brick because unless you are basically pre-planned for something like that by having a secondary boot mechanism, however you do. There's ways to configure your computer so that in worst case scenarios you can still revive it. But mine.
I was getting into the BIOS. I was getting into I'm like, help, because the thing just was not reacting the way that it needed to. And when I did the one recovery,
manually, it said can't do it. I mean, it didn't have restore points. You know, it didn't have any restore points or anything. That was kind of alarming because I know that there were restore points there. So that made me a little bit concerned. And then when I went to run the one recovery within, you know, the 4.25 minutes that I had before it would not work, it told me that the drivers didn't download properly. And it was like, you know, and the more I think about it, it was probably a virus. Somebody probably, you know, having fun screwing up other people's things. But, you know, thank God for the little button, you know, because I just hit that thing and I prayed, and I'm not kidding. I prayed. I literally prayed before I hit it, while it was happening, and I didn't even believe it until probably an hour after it was running enough. So, you know, you can ask Wayne. I was, without question, I was praying on it. So, you know, so it worked out though.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was fun. That was a good start to the day.
Let's not go too far.
Yeah, yeah, it was a way to wake up the morning. What a way to start the day. I tell you. Where are we at? 29 likes on our Facebook page. Random thoughts with random access. It'll probably be 26 after tonight. Really got not anything really to talk about. I mean, there's one. I did find this interesting article, and but I'm not really like prepared to talk about it right now. I guess I wasn't really thinking about it, but there's this basically complaining about the English language.
Oh no.
But and there's a lot of interesting stuff that goes on here when you think about language. You get the change and indicate the language handshake. That it's basically English is this really terrible language as far as making sense because it's such a mutt language. There's a lot of it comes down through the Germanic German the Anglo stuff, but there's a lot of Latin, so that's the two parts that it's maybe I don't know. I guess I don't know the percentages off the top of my head, but maybe it's like 40% sort of German roots and maybe 30% sort of Latin, and then the rest of it is just a mix of a lot of things, and it makes spelling in the English language very difficult, and because the language itself is hard to master. That can make it difficult to actually learn almost anything because it's the language that gets in the way of learning. A lot of learning is communicating thoughts, and you can't communicate thoughts if you haven't got a language that you can understand. And spelling is one of those things that can get in people's way. One way to get by it is just to ignore the fact that you're a bad speller and just don't worry about that. And I think maybe that's why the English language changes so fast. English language does evolve very quickly compared to other languages. And I think it's because the spelling is just so awkward that just different. There's like this spelling fads, and then all of a sudden, some things become common, and then that's just the way we spell from now on, and then that changes the way the language is spelled. But the spelling changes also a lot faster than the pronunciations. That's why also in the English language we have a lot of like silent e's, and those used to be pronounced, and people stopped pronouncing them. I don't know, but it's I don't know. It's a crazy language. I don't think what I just said made any sense because but
it is complex, but not in a good way.
Yeah, and so this article talks about how this is 1984. It makes me think about that book 1984 because this is a classic example of how you can use a language to manipulate thoughts. Because in that book, that's the book where they use the phrases like double plus ungood, and the idea is that the government is just really trying to manipulate the people's thoughts through a lot of different ways, but one of it is through language manipulation. If you prevent people from saying certain things, then you can prevent them from thinking certain things. And if you force them to say say certain words, then you can make them think certain things. And this kind of does happen on a small level. or maybe on a big level, but we have certain words in the English language that you kind of get like this negative reaction. A lot of people get a negative reaction to the words. I think of words like you know calling yourself a liberal. I mean, there was maybe it's starting to come back a little bit now, but there was a period where oh, I'm a liberal, or it was actually there was like this negative connotation of being a liberal. It's like, oh, I don't want to be called liberal because the word had this negative association to it. But now what happens is if you can't use the word liberal, then how do you describe yourself? And then if it gets hard to describe yourself, and then you can sort of short circuit people's ability to discuss liberal issues because you don't want to be called a liberal. So now you start trying to describe things in a way that don't make you sound liberal, and that means you're not discussing liberal ideas. And so I think we're getting past it with a little liberal, but now conservatism is a bad word. I mean, there was a time being conservative, people were proud conservatives. In the last 10 years or so, or maybe since 9/11, being a conservative now is becoming less and less something to be proud and happy about. I mean, part of this is, gay marriage equality is taking over. I just saw Alabama just this week passed. Well, it's happened to the courts mainly, but they became the 37th state where marriage equality sort of has been sort of allowed in, which just in the early 2000s, 10 years ago, say, I remember there was the story had been there had been 33 different attempts to change the law by election that had failed, 33 consecutive failures in the U.S. of trying to establish marriage equality. Now, a lot of these aren't changing by elections anymore. They've kind of gone the route of the courts, and part of that is it's a little bit easier, I think, to get these things overturned in the courts because you're dealing with fewer people than relying on elections because people are shut it down. But it's becoming more and more accepted, and people are just taking it for granted. Where it was a rallying cry before, now it's like kind of like, ooh, I don't want to, so you try and distance yourself away from the crazy conservatives out there who are still fighting against it when most of America's realized that this is the future, this is the way things are going to be. So if you're against that, then, what are you really against? I mean, I know it's, but it kind of makes being a conservative, and that's just one example of making being a conservative kind of like being, the anti-intellectual movement. I mean, we talk about it here a lot. I talk about it here a lot, especially being against science, against evolution, climate change, vaccinations. The conservatives really are very much against those things. Well, that's kind of getting linked to them, and as people become more and more aware of it, and a lot of people are starting to realize that, maybe evolution, it makes sense to teach evolution in science classes and things that are not science. So that has a little bit of momentum. There's also climate change. People are starting to realize that, oh yeah, global climate change seems to be real. So that's kind of deflating these long-time arguments that the conservatives are making. So it's making it, to call yourself a conservative now, you're less able to hold on to all those ideals that you used to use to identify yourself with because they're falling down like, dominoes, boom, boom, boom. And so now you have to try and redefine yourself, and you can't use the word conservative because the word conservative is so closely linked to these other issues. But then that also, so it's just weird how language can have these, triggers these emotions, and then that affects the way we think. And this article, though, this talks more about the spelling. And so it's talking about there's a barrier just to even get into the language. Before we can start using the words and using the words differently, or anyway, we can't get past the spelling, and the spelling becomes this roadblock to language, and then that in itself that makes it difficult to actually learn. So they talk about comparisons with other countries, some languages that are just a little bit more simpler to spell. People can master the languages at an earlier age, so they can start mastering thinking and things like that at an earlier age. The one thing that is kind of true about language, I'll put this out here, that linguists, at least, and then I have to trust them on this because they're the experts in language, say that that there's no one language that's better than another language as far as if you've mastered the language, that you can express the thoughts that you need to express, that you can, for artistic thoughts, scientific thoughts, there's no there are no languages that are out there that are sort of like handicaps in themselves that after you've mastered them, that they're a handicap language, that they're just not rich enough to express um, human thought, as well as other languages. So they agree that all languages are you can't how can they be sure it's exactly, but at least they say they're all they say they're all equivalent for that. But one thing that is true is some languages are just easier to learn than other languages. So those languages that are easier to learn, it's now easier to start accessing those thoughts and those through art and through science, through all those things that we rely on for language. Language is unbelievable. Written language, especially. Spoken language is one thing, but written language is that thing that allows you to sort of echo through time. Like spoken language, you require the other person to kind of be there. I say it, they have to hear it. Although now we have recorded language, so maybe with the technology, you don't have to write things down. We can just say it and it gets recorded. But for a long time, it was the big step forward was when you started writing stuff down because you could write something down and it persisted through time, and that was a good thing. But language, crazy thing. But I'm not really prepared. I mean, I feel like I'm talking about it. Really, I'm just rambling. So that's what that was. That was, plus kind of half asleep.
It seemed
still.
like it was therapeutic, so I just let it roll.
Yeah, so it's and I'm just trying to wake up a little bit too. That's for sure. But so that was our exciting day. Yeah, so I was up all night. I slept during the day, which I should be doing. I mean, I got to get my sleep schedule back, and I'm sort of giving into it a little bit. And I need to. But I've been, it started with that fire. It was that fire that we had a month ago or more. We had a big fire on a Saturday night, early Sunday morning, 3 in the morning, Sunday morning. Yanked out of bed, and then we were up all night. And 3 houses on our block burned down. They got to be, total loss. The lots have to be cleared, and and of course right now it's a little bit difficult to do a lot of that stuff because of the weather. We got a foot of snow or a foot and a half of snow, 2 foot of snow out there. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nightmare out there with that. But but since then it's like my sleep schedule's really been off. And this is a delicate time of the year for me anyway because I did my depression like really gets strong in the wintertime. And and I can manage it, but it seems like it gets a little bit off, and then it's hard to rein it back in.
I think that's part. I think that's more of it for me is the fact
that it is seasonal because it's definitely cold out there, and I'm not a cold kind of cat. I mean, I like golf, I like baseball, I like playing, and I'm not playing nothing outside now. You know what I mean? Even if I had a snowmobile, of which I am a crazy driver when it comes to vehicles or whether they're recreational or not, I love fun. I have no interest in going out there and playing. It's just walking out there is just bone chilling. And it's, I've been in New York for a while. When I say a while, the majority, I don't know, half of my life. So it's not that I'm not, used to having the temperatures and the snow and everything like that. It's just for what is more to do with my depression, my illness right now, than anything. So I don't think you're the only one that's feeling that by any means.
Right again.
there you go.
Boy, that's a computer is a. I was trying to be patient, but it wasn't playing nice. It wasn't. Uh, oh yeah, Twitter. Well, you yell at us at Twitter. It's random thoughts with random access. Use the hashtag RTWRE. Random thoughts with random access. RTWRE. You can tweet right at us using the @randomaccess username or use the RTWRE hashtag. And this is always a scary moment, is to find out how many people were lost. It was 9:52 yesterday. That was the number, and the number today is 9:51. The bottom so far has been 9:50. So in the we've been doing this one now. This is 45 days. 40 was it 45, 46 days.
But one thing,
At
least you've got less following as you do followers.
Yeah.
I mean that at least you've got more people who are following you than you following everybody else. There are people out there that have a lot followers, but they do the exact same amount that they're following.
Yeah, it took me a little while to get that number going that way. When I was starting out, of course, I started out by following a lot of people just to sort of get in on the conversations. That's the way Twitter works. Is you follow people, and then you can start seeing some conversations. And then I just started getting in on the conversations. I never did any like follow me, I'll follow you. Sometimes I follow people, sometimes I didn't. But what I did is I tried to get in on conversations, and then people liked what I was saying, so they would follow me, and then they would share, and then it took a little while, but eventually it took over, and this is. I mean, I had a whole bunch of things that I was following, and I kind of got rid of a lot of those because a lot of them were just like just recently did that. They weren't real people. I mean, they were just, I don't know what they were following. They were celebrities and other things. So there was it just wasn't I didn't. It was too many people, too much stuff in my timeline that I didn't want to read. I had to get rid of it. This number could probably come down a little bit, but at least for now, I'm kind of happy with it. But yeah, but you can get his up on the feedback line. The feedback line, yeah, 15189-666-175. That's 3 to 4 during the week, 3 to 5 on the weekends, 11 to midnight after the show. 15189-666-175. Good in U.S. and Canada, and to keep me, my tweets are going up very fast. You see, it's 51,000.
It wasn't a lot of energy. Yeah, believe me, we both know.
Yeah, very low energy show today. And hopefully it'll pick back up. But I'm committed to doing this every night, even if the energy's low. So I apologize for people. Maybe I should put a little thing in the title that it's a low energy show, so that you know beforehand. But you're watching real life here. This is not a.
But we're not fooling around. I mean, it's a real deal. So
I'm not trying to. Okay, doke. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be some good, interesting stories, something to talk about, something to think about. Good luck in your lives, and good luck in mine, and good luck in yours, Shane.
Yeah, pray for me in the morning, will you? I don't need to go through what I did today.
Good night.
Good night.